Hello, everyone. My name is Ramsey Wilson, and this is my autocratic leadership presentation. I am super excited to share with everyone that I completed the quiz and I now get to share with y'all about my leadership style and how it goes back to my communication and all the barriers that you can potentially face with this leadership style. And I feel like it is super important to look back on your leadership skills of how you are as a leader and what shapes you to who you are today. With that being said, my second slide is my summary. Based off of the quiz that we did, my leadership style is mainly autocratic, and I feel like this approach is mainly the thing that stood out to me is all about control and being quick on your toes about making decisions. And when our decisions need to be in a type of situation, either it is a high pressure or high volume situation, or if it is something that you have to be able to maintain through a course, if it's a group project, if you are working up to a certain goal to achieve, whatever the case is, I feel like this leadership style is very all over the place, honestly. I feel like there's a lot that goes into this leadership style because there's more to it than just being a leader. I feel like the micromanaging, all of the tasks that need to be dealt with or managed, you have to do a lot for this leadership style and be able to deliver clear and direct instructions. And a lot of that stuck out to me because for me personally, I do have experience where I feel like my leadership style does tend to align with this. And three things that really did stand out to me, like I just said, was the control, being able to make quick decisions, and the communication. In the textbook, it said this quote that really stuck out to me. And what stuck out to me mostly was yes, to organizational goals. Goals need to be met. If goals aren't met, then what are you trying to achieve? And discord among employees. I have a couple stories that will be down and that will be shared throughout this presentation, but going back to the discord among employees, think about that whenever I share my story about sauce. But going back, I do agree with this because I feel like my leadership style does have a lot of cues that do align with the autocratic. And sorry, this is my second time making the presentation because the first time it didn't even do my screen right. So my words are getting a little twisted, but that I was a student teacher for 2 years and I had to maintain the classroom for many, many times. I had to delegate what we were doing. I had to do lesson plans, and being a autocratic leader, this did give me the structure I needed to manage the classroom effectively and to ensure all the tasks were completed by my students. And my teacher would observe me. She would be out of the room sometime for meetings because she did trust me with being able to delegate and manage the classroom effectively and efficiently. I feel like with this approach, I am able to work with the students and make sure that there are routines and that for the achievement of the goals, if we are trying to finish a task, I feel like you have to be able to delegate what we are doing with clear directions and communicatively be very, very clear with your words, especially like I said, being a student teacher. As you can tell from the pictures, this is kindergarten, very young kids. You have to be very, 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 very clear about what you say because their minds are developing. With that, I feel like the lens of the supervisor subordinate, the one that really did stick out to me was the derivative, and this style of supervision I feel like is very important because not everyone is treated the same, and I feel like this is very important because my personal opinion, I do feel like we are not all treated equally, especially in the work environment, because there are people mainly, speaking from my personal experience, yes, I'm not talking about like rights or anything like that. I'm more talking about people individually of being a superior and having a higher position than someone else, that if you have a straight relationship with someone and you know how they work, and they have proven themselves to you to be very efficient with what they do, to be very mindful, and to get all of the tasks done on at a certain time, and to finish everything, not to put something off, you are very likely to have more trust and more of a connection and more of an understanding of what that person is, compared to someone maybe you don't know, compared to someone that maybe you do know and they don't finish tasks effectively or efficiently, and they don't do certain things that you see that align with your, like, what you are wanting to be done. I feel like this supervision um with communication is very, very important, because you are able to delegate to team members, or whatever the case is, based off of how you know them, to finish or to complete certain tasks. If you knew someone isn't very good with juggling many things, you're probably not going to give them 7 tasks. That's how I view this, and I feel like it's really important, because as an individual, you have to be able to make sure you know who your audience and who your crowd is, especially for me, as I am a leader, and that's just like what's something that like has worked for me, and being able to find the balance. And I feel like with this, if you are able to provide like a lot of clear communication and like maybe step-by-step instructions, if you have someone newer versus someone that has a lot of experience, like every situation is different, and I feel like with this approach, it is very clear with like what you were like needing, and like the structure for someone you can give and provide. Like I said, going back to the discord with employees of that quote from the textbook, the barriers to effective leadership with this style that I was given based off the quiz is my sauce pizza and wine. I used to work there about 3 years ago. I was a server, and I worked with all of my best friends from high school. With that being said, I'm like kind of a suck up. I do suck up to my I want my managers to like me, so I'm very efficient with what I do. I like to make sure that everything is done correctly. I do have a little bit of OCD, and I am a little bit of a control freak. So I feel like whenever I was given team lead, I was able to make these schedules, and a lot of my friends, every single one of the employees was one of my best friends. We ran into a lot of barriers whenever I was given a leadership position to be a higher up than just a server. I made all of the schedules, and I felt like I did run into a lot of barriers with the challenges that ran into this, with me picking out their schedules with what worked for the better of the group. What was our goal to achieve, to have everyone on the schedule, to work with everyone scheduled, who did request off for 2 weeks prior, who did just texted me a day before their shift, oh, I can't make it. So the barriers that I ran into a lot with this was some of my employees that were my friends felt really stressed and discouraged, because they felt like maybe their voice wasn't being heard whenever they told me something. But based off the lack of the communication of them not following the rules of, if you don't put in a certain amount of time of when you can't work, I'm just going to schedule you. But them being my friends, they would communicate with me and professionally, because they didn't obviously see me as team lead or anything like that. But outside of work, that was just my little story. But I do think with this leadership style that there is a lot of kind of barriers that go into it, because depending on the environment of what you are or what's being encouraged to be finished and all of this stuff, I do feel like that there's a lot of parts where employees can have like a lot of emotions when they feel like they don't have a say in the decision making, where the collaboration isn't really collaborating because one person is making the decisions for the betterment of the group. A lot of people don't have this leadership style. I do, as you can tell. And I do think that if someone is not able to micromanage and that are not carefully with a lot of trust, there is a lot of morals that can be reduced with the team. And I really hope that the decrease in the morale of the job satisfaction doesn't feel like it takes over the whole job. And I feel like a lot goes into that with all the barriers. Lastly, the conclusion, I feel like, as you know now, a little bit more about me. I am a control freak, but throughout my career with being a student teacher, with being a server, moving to team lead, with all of these leadership roles that I have been in, with the task I have been given, I do see that I am a autocratic leader, and I do like to be in control. A big thing for me is being in control, and a lot goes back into that of just that's just how I am. And I feel like in a lot of high volume or high pressure situations, I'm able to delegate, and I'm able to be quick on my toes, and I'm able to provide feedback, and I'm able to be a good resource for a lot of people. I do try to avoid a lot of barriers that are associated with this certain type of leadership, but I do feel like I do have a lot of other leadership styles that go into this. Um, and able to adapt to the approach with whatever situation I feel like I am in. But I am looking forward to continuing to develop more leadership skills and finding out a balance to just balance life and who I want to be as a person with my leadership and my career. And that is all that I have for today. I'm super excited to keep on going through this course, and I loved everything we have learned so much. And I'm just glad that y'all got to learn a little bit more about me and my leadership style. Bye.